All right, welcome back to Crypto Front. This is the front line where we are fighting together side by side for financial freedom. Let's go ahead and take a look at the JASMY price chart here, because of course we have had like good market conditions over the last 2 weeks. We saw the Bitcoin price going to a new all-time high. We saw things like XRP even breaking all-time highs and stuff like that. However, for JASMY, I think a lot of people may say it hasn't done much. Of course, at some point we're seeing 11%, double digits, but still I think we haven't started the move that we want to see here for JASMY. And today I just want to talk to people who really believe that JASMY is going to pump. If you don't believe that JASMY is going to be pumping very soon, this video is actually not for you. But you know, whatever the case may be, I'm running my mouth too much here. So let's go ahead and take a look at what's what here on the structure. And of course, towards the end of this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I'm going to be planning this move here for JASMY, because it's not just about talking about those things, right? We literally want to be putting our money exactly where our mouths are. So I'll show you exactly what I'm going to be doing there. And of course, if you wish, you can join me and we can trade this whole thing together. And you know, we'll be holding hands at the end of the whole thing, singing Kumbaya. But whatever the case may be, let's go here on the daily time frame for JASMY. And still we are maintaining a bullish stance, looking at this, you know, higher low that was set right there. This is a clear double bottom for me. And of course, I have been talking about a potential pullback in the market. This is not the first time I'm bringing this up, actually. If you also happen to be in the Patreon, you know exactly what my thoughts are on this issue. I think that, you know, between now and sometime next week, we can have a little bit of a drop in terms of the Bitcoin price, really, because it was studying the dominance price. I think it looks to pump a little bit much more before it heads down eventually. Of course, for Bitcoin also, this has been the fastest time and again that, look, yes, we broke into a new all-time high here, but this thing could be back tested before the price, you know, totally heads out. I'm expecting right around $150,000 in terms of like a price target here for Bitcoin. You can already see that that's not a lot in terms of percentages, right? We're looking at a 49%. However, for altcoins, we're looking at 6x's, 10x's. You know, the number for BTC has gotten so much big that it's no longer enticing for a regular normie, right? You would rather, you know, multiply your money elsewhere. But whatever the case may be, we want a healthy Bitcoin so that it can also lead the other altcoins. As you can see, these days Ethereum is beginning to take a market share. But what I'm trying to say here is that still I'm expecting a little bit of a drop here. And of course, we have gone from 124,000 actually at some point back to 116. But still, this is where I'm thinking that we could actually be capitalizing a very, very important and a major move here for JASMY, because, you know, we have talked about this at length. If you have been a regular on the channel, I mean, even if you've like watched one of my videos, I'm sure you've come across what I always talk about here. And the main actor for JASMY is none other than this 50 daily moving average, the line that you see in there going up and down, right? It's like, once again, the rule is very simple. Once JASMY is above this 50 daily moving average, as you can see in this case, it usually pumps, right? We can also refer to this point right here. When JASMY breaks that 50 daily moving average, it literally just moves towards the upside. Once again, we also see it right here, and then we can also refer to this moment as well, and then we can also probably refer to this moment here too, although this was what I would call a lackluster move. However, it was still something like a 65% move, so that's not too small actually. But I mean, you can go as far back as, you know, something like 2022 I should say. And once again, as I said, if you're a regular on this channel, you know exactly what this whole thing represents. So it really has been something that is successful. And you know what, where we are today, we are exactly at, you know, breaking that 50 daily moving average. So technically speaking, he's already in a bullish stance here. Of course, people who don't read charts probably don't have the patience to wait and see, you know, things play out, because, you know, they are too much opinionated, right? Because you think about it, you're listening to like, you know, 10 different people saying different things, so you end up being confused, honestly speaking. But sometimes it's very simple, like this 50 daily moving average here. And one thing that I want people to notice with this 50 daily moving average is that more often than not, before the price starts heading out towards the upside, it usually has somewhat of a back test. So let me just go ahead and zoom this nice and easy. And you can see here that, of course, yes, you broke the 50 daily moving average here. You pumped a little bit, right? So you pumped right around, I would say here, around a 23%. Then again, you dropped very much quickly, minus 20%. People cannot stomach that minus 23% in normal circumstances for whatever reason, right? Maybe they are on way high leverage, whatever the case, but still, this was a back test of that 50 daily moving average before the price really started pushing way higher. You can see it eventually pumped like 200%. So that's great. I mean, notice also the same thing on this instance. We were looking at what? Break of the 50 daily moving average here. You pumped a little bit much more here. Still, you managed to slam back into that 50 daily moving average one more time with a minus 11-12%, right? And after that, the price managed to rise, what I would say here, like 130 something percent. I think that's really, really great. If you also take a look at the other instance here, they may not be as clear cut, but it's very much clear that, look, you break the 50 daily moving average here. Of course, once you see this here, it means that the price was pumping, right? Then from there, it slammed back towards that 50 daily moving average with another minus 10-11% before it eventually headed out here, which was like one of the biggest runs that we have seen here for JASMY, because I want to believe that this was more than 300%, yeah, almost 400% actually. So that's great. So it's been something that has been repetitive here for JASMY. And what really does that have to do with where we are today, right? Remember, we are expecting somewhat of a correction here for Bitcoin, right? Obviously, people don't want to hear that because we want price action to be pushing, right, without any pullbacks or what. But what we are seeing here is that there is a very good chance that this JASMY price drops a little bit, right? In the coming days, what I expect for this 50 daily moving average is to, start pushing, towards the upside like this, nice and easy. And at the same time, we're going to be seeing the JASMY price just cool off a little bit, right? It should be able to test at some point the 50 daily moving average. So we're looking at a move which is like, minus 10, minus 14%, whatever the case may be. And this is exactly why I'm saying that whilst the price is going down here, I'm going to be opening a long position on JASMY. And I'm inviting anybody who is willing to, take the risk, because we have seen the chart play out like that. I mean, even the recent one that I've just been talking about here, you can see that, of course, the price, slammed back that 50 daily moving average before it went for what I would call a bigger move of right around a 66%. This is not small if you are on leverage, because if you think about it, 66% multiplied by even the lowest leverage of 3x, you are still getting more than 130%. So the bottom line here is that considering that BTC can push back a little bit, okay, JASMY also pushes back a little bit. It's very normal, guys, to expect a minus 10% in crypto. It's a normal Tuesday, right? It's very much the norm of the day, but we can turn this to our advantage. This is what I believe. This is my thesis. And of course, I've been wrong once. I can also be wrong here, but I really believe this with all my heart. And I really want to be trading this whole thing for JASMY, because I think it's going to be one big last chance here. So we're going to be making one big beautiful trade, and we're going to be riding it all the way. It's a swing position for JASMY, and I'm going to be targeting here higher than the 6 cents that we are having, because I think JASMY can go higher than that. I think the very least, I mean, worst case scenario, we're looking at 9 cents here, but of course my price targets stretch as high as maybe something like 23 cents, and the highest one as high as something like 32 cents here. So let me go ahead and walk you through how I'm going to be doing this here for JASMY. I'm going to be using this exchange called Wix, because it has got this feature called copy trading. So even if you don't understand charts, you can literally go ahead and copy some traders. This is not financial advice, obviously. It's really your decision at the end of the day. But if you have got a Wix account, or if you don't even have one, there's a link that I put in the description which you can use to register on Wix. This actually is a 9KYC exchange, so you should be able to trade even without ID verification and stuff like that. So this is Wix right there. The link is in the description. Another benefit of this link is that you get to claim up to 30,000 USDT bonuses, and of course a 20% deposit bonus right there with up to 400 USDT. So it's quite an advantageous thing. If you don't have a Wix account already, feel free to go ahead and check that one. Once you have your account registered, you're going to be seeing this up. Before I continue, actually, this can only be done on your PC, right? You don't have all these features on mobile, so that's not going to be too good. But of course, if you register on PC, then you can still monitor your trades on your mobile phone. That's okay. So come here to copy trade, and once you click, you're going to be seeing this page which I just opened right there, and come here where it says search trader. So you're going to be coming here and write CryptoFront, which is the username that I'm using, so that everybody knows who I am and see exactly what trades I'm taking. This is my profile right here, which you can see that over the last 3 weeks I have traded with a win rate of like 74%. Of course, this is just a small amount of profits, like $1,500, okay, because I was testing. I wanted to see how I do in like 100 trades, so that we can have at least an idea of how much are we winning per 100 trades. So out of 100 trades, if we can win like 74%, I think that's really, really cool. So once you do that, you can go ahead and click on copy, and once you do that, you're going to be seeing some pairs right here, USDT, Ethereum. They're up to 112, and they keep updating these ones, so you're going to be having more and more pairs each and every single day, which you can copy trade. And once you come to this page here, it's your job to select which pair you want to trade. Of course, if you are interested in this specific upcoming trade that I'm going to be taking, I think you can, not mark everything else and just go ahead and choose JASMY. So you can see what I'm doing right here. I'm deleting the other ones that I don't want to be trading, because what's going to be happening is that automatically when I open any other trade with any other of these pairs, automatically you are going to be able to copy that without you manually clicking or adding any margin to your whole thing. It's just going to be automatic. If I win, you also win. If I lose, you also lose. That's why it was important for me to test out the strategy first and try to see like at what percentage are we looking. And I think that 74% is actually not bad. And there is also this part which says copy trading mode, which is uniform or separated. Now, here's the thing. If you click uniform, it means that you're going to be applying the same set of conditions for all the trading pairs that you have. However, if you go here with something like separated, it means that for every pair that you're going to be trading, let's say here Bitcoin, you have to have a certain condition set. If it's OP, certain condition, APT, and different other ones. So you have to set for each and every single one of them. And I say there like 112 of them. So I think it's better if you just go ahead and click uniform right there. So once you have conditions, they are set for all the pairs. So even when you're copy trading, you don't have to be adjusting each and every single time. When it comes to margin mode here, which is the leverage that you're going to be using, right? So for example, if you have set your leverage to be 5x and I open a trade at 10x, your trade is going to be opening at 5x, even though it's the same trade, right? But if you can also choose the trader here, which means you're basically going to be applying the same leverage that the trader is using, which is me. In this case, if I'm using a 3x, you're also going to be automatically using a 3x. And here, custom, this is your own, you can set that for every long position that I'm going to be taking, I'm only going with a 5x. For every short position that I'm going to be taking, I'm only going to be going here with maybe a 3x. So you can go ahead and type in the leverage that you want, right? It can be uniform for everything that you're going to be doing, right? It really doesn't matter what I do, you're going to be setting it for yourself. Then of course here, when it comes to the amount that you want to trade, you can go ahead and choose two things here that, okay, I want to be trading between, let's say $100, $500, whatever you think you can risk for this copy trading thing. And of course, you can also go with ratios, meaning, for example, if I enter with $1,000, you can choose to say, okay, look, I'm going to be going with 2 times that, or I'm going to be going with half of that. So that's what it means here when it says times. So you can go maybe here 0.5, which is basically 50%, right? So if I enter a trade with $1,000, you're going to be able to enter your own trade with $500 only. So it depends on your risk. I think this fixed ratio thing is a good thing. So in my opinion, I think a fixed USDT amount is something that makes sense. If you just want to dedicate $500 to that copy trade thing, you can just do that and see how, you increase that much amount of money, right? Then of course, once you do that, it's just a next and you are pretty much done right there. And you will just be able to confirm for all the pairs. There are 112 pairs. Of course, you're not going to be able to do everything right there, but that's pretty much it. So you can also auto stop if I don't trade, for example, like 14 consecutive days, you can choose not to follow me. And that's exactly how we're going to be doing this JASMY trade. So I am really looking forward to this next JASMY trade because it's the first one that I'm going to be going with the whole community, right? We have never done anything like this. We didn't have, the tools to use, but this one, hopefully, fingers are definitely crossed that we're going to be able to pull this one off. It's very simple. Sometimes we're looking at that 50 daily moving average. In the past, it has actually worked really, really well. We have traded in the Patreon over and over this 50 daily moving average, and it has actually turned out to be really, really something that is fantastic. There is a benefit for that copy trading feature is that, you see, the price is going to be going down maybe like minus 10%, right? In this moment, we're going to be dollar cost averaging in. So rather than me making a video for every entry that I'm making on JASMY, if it's on copy trade, it means that it's automatic, right? I don't have to communicate to anybody. You just see that, okay, CryptoFront has added more to his trade and automatically yours also just happens to add. So that's the beauty of this copy trading thing. And I hope we'll be able to work together with this one. Obviously, please don't forget that there are no guarantees here. I'm literally just, putting my money exactly where my mouth is. And I wanted to show you guys that, of course, if you're interested in this whole thing, this is what I'm going to be doing. And hopefully it turns out to be really, really great. I want to thank you so much for watching the video. If you could, please delicately tap the like button, share the video with friends and family, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next one. Take really, really good care of yourselves. Bye-bye.